Buddy, thank you
That
for
interesting.
good
Oh, just
morning, everyone. Thank you for being patient as we work through some technical issues here, but I'm glad to be with you. I think we've got a few people who might need to be on mute. So if you can go ahead and mute yourselves, that would be great. I'm getting some background noise. Mute. Can you all hear me? Can I get someone to say yes, you can hear me? Okay. And can you see my screen? Get another thumbs up. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I'm excited to talk to you today. I'm Julie Bechtold. I'm the Academic and Career Advising Manager at Waubonsie Community College. Um, I'll tell you a little bit more about Waubonsie. We're going to get going here. This is our story. This is a sort of a case study of how we integrated academic and career advising here at Waubonsie. I oversee a team of about 13 academic and career advisors. My background has been historically in managing career centers, so this was a shift for me. I want to start off just to give you a definition of what academic advising is. And when I made that transition from being the manager of the Career Development Center into managing a team of academic and career advisors, of which I knew nothing about academic advising, I went to my first conference and was blown away by the amount of sessions and discussions about what academic advising is. And when you look at my slides, you'll see my content, but at the bottom are buzzwords, and I'm sharing those buzzwords with you throughout the presentation because I'm looking for to help us establish a common language to build collaborative relationships between academic advising and the career center. Academic advising is much more than course selections. And that was my thought when I first took on this team. And I learned very quickly these advisors heavily invest themselves in their students. And they very much want to be equipped to have developmental relationships. And we hear that in the scholarly papers, in the sessions, when I am in the world of academic advising. George Koo was a thought leader, and I hope I'm saying George's name right, who wrote a scholarly paper. And in reading through that, you can see that it's very much this theme of development and success for students. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's the same thing we're trying to do in career centers. Success for academic advising access. Includes lots of different things like academic achievement, which we're familiar with, also engaging students, student satisfaction, student persistence. Jeremy talked about it in his opening speech, the retention and attainment of goals. And it also is just this natural space to embed career conversations because students are in the office talking with advisors and the conversations around major career exploration, I don't know what to do, picking classes, all lends itself to this natural guidance. When we think about why does career integration matter, again, what Jeremy was talking about, advising can be very much a strategic lever when opening up doors around career conversations with students. NACADA recognizes the need for career development competencies in advising, and I'll share a little bit more about that. But I was surprised to know that NACADA, which is the National Academic Advising Association, has so much career in its papers and books, like I said before. Some individuals from NACADA talked about advisors must know the institution, resources, and student body. My team of advisors are very much generalists, but it's not an adequate term because they are specialists in everything about the college. The volume of information they need to know and have at the ready is amazing. And so when we think about there's this natural opportunity for advisors to have to know all about not only registration and not only about courses, but the Career Center, the Center for Disability Studies, the Testing Center, academic support, all of these things they have to know about. Career advising helps students develop critical thinking, solving problems, and making decisions. So these are skill sets that NACADA is recommending academic advisors be able to do with students. Does anybody see some familiarities there with NACE competencies? So again, there's this talk in this world of academic advising that is very symbiotic what's happening in our own world in career centers. They also talk about embedding career tools to help transform advising into that strategic driver of retention and success. So again, when Jerry was talking about retention, I'm like, oh, there's that buzzword, because we know that students who have confidence in their own career decision making are able to stay and persist in college much better than those that don't. And I'll share some interesting information about that in our panel discussion coming up. So who is Wabanzi? What do we offer? I'm speaking from a community college context here. So Wabanzi is located about 50 miles west of Chicago, and we're about 90 miles west of Iowa. So we're like two-thirds of the way to, or a third of the way to Iowa. We have about 80% of our students that are enrolled, and around 9,000 students with our dual credit adult enrollment, adult ed enrollment. We're finding that 80% of them are enrolled part-time. So capturing these students is very challenging. We're about 67%, 68% of our students are transferring. So many of them don't even think about career. When I led the Career Center at Wabanzi, this statistic just haunted me. And it really spurred me to say, all right, I can't just be a standalone. I have got to integrate. There's about 25% of our students are in career programs, and about 7% are in what we call our developmental, or to get them into college level. We are an HSI institution. We have a new strategic plan called Rise, so it matches our emblem of the sun rising in the future. And a big part of this process of one of our initiatives is onboarding, the student onboarding and student journey. And I'm really excited about new ways to implement career into not only into advising process, but into the admissions process. Our advising structure is centralized. We do with referral pathways to career counselors. So we do have 5 faculty counselors that also do advising in addition to mental health responsibilities. So it's a very interesting context to work in. Many of our students are obviously they're transferring, but our advisors are equipped to handle both academic and career conversations. We're fortunate. Many of our colleagues, our peer colleges don't offer this, but our advisors have 1-hour appointments with our students. So we're very intentional about building the relationship. And let me talk a little bit about that relationship building. So in 2019, July of 2019, we realigned our whole advising model from a walk-in ad hoc to a more integrated support for our students. So we integrated and pulled over all the resources from career development into academic advising. So historically, we were operating differently. Now, since 2019, we were operating together. Now, we had those faculty counselors. Many of them are licensed professionals, so they can do Myers-Briggs, the strong interest inventory. They're well equipped to have career conversations. We had a group of academic advisors that maybe had some experience or did it because they liked it, but it wasn't necessarily an expectation. So there was a lot of training we needed to do over time. And so what we did was we started out with there was this blend of academic and career advisors. We started out with doing very baseline career development training for them, talking about Holland Code, likes, interests, knowledge, skill sets, and sort of introducing them to this framework concept while we were rapidly implementing career development, rapidly developing our case management model where they were all assigned a group of students. And then, of course, there's the big COVID marker there, which we had to kind of set aside some of our intentions of and delaying a little bit our career development work with our advisors while we just tried to keep everybody moving forward. And then in 21, we embarked on a journey with Inside Track, where all of our advising team became certified coaches through their foundational coach training, and that was years long, and it definitely had career components in it. And there was also a career certification, separate training that advisors had the option to go. So some of our students or some of our advisors did get that certification. And now going forward, we're really working at the career pathways options, where we're shifting from just everybody being generalists to focusing on fields of interest and clustering our advising around that. And that again is going to provide us with more in-depth opportunities to do more in-depth career training with our advisors. What are some of the tactical ways we did this? We did it through kind of three ways. We did it through case studies, workshops, and group exercises. So the case studies, what we did is we just took scenarios of students, and we built this composite of a student where they could come in undecided, but the student is on academic probation, and maybe they're struggling with this class. And so we use these scenarios to kind of help through and apply the concepts we trained them in to future appointments. Because for us, when a student comes in, they're presenting with many different factors that could result in them dropping out, stopping out, or paralyzing them and being able to move forward with their degree. We conducted workshops on career development theory, career exploration, and again, we provided a framework for them, which I'll show you in the next slide. And then we did group exercises, and that included questions to ask students to help them probe deeper in those conversations, challenge student assumptions, explore deficits in students' career acumen. And then we also provided questions for them to ask. So we were working with this model in career development before we integrated into academic advising. We took this model with us. And so we use this to sort of as a diagnostic tool to help advisors know where is a student stuck and what kind of specific actions do they want to take or need to take that are offered at Waubonsie to help them move forward. So from that, we gave a list of questions, right, for them to work from. So these are questions that advisors can ask students to help identify where they are at in the career development wheel. And they all have like laminated copies of this so that they can pull it out when needed if it comes up with conversations with students and help them to advance into the next stage. And then we also provided them questions to dialogue with the student on to help the student see, give some language to the student for maybe how they're stuck or what their questions are when wanting to help make decisions related to their career. So after some time, it's appropriate to start surveying and figuring out how are our career advisors, academic and career advisors doing, and what are the things we need to do to help support them further with these conversations. So surveying my staff, we discovered that 8 out of 10 of them report that most of their appointments touch on career. So let me give you an example of how a student can schedule an appointment. They can schedule an appointment on the topic of academic and course planning, withdrawing from a course, maybe financially related, that would be related to maybe if they're on an financial aid academic probation and we help support them through that process, transfer planning, and we do have a category called career and major. So those are some of the services that students can select when scheduling an appointment. So if you think about the diversity of that, most of their appointments are somehow touching on career. I also want to know, what tools are you using? And I was very pleased to see that many of them are using and referring students to Candid Career Videos, which is a product I know that sits with You Connect. Another popular one is what can I do with this major in career coach? So it gives me an idea where we need to focus some of our training on and helping staff utilize these tools. And then we ask them, okay, what additional training do you need? How can we support you? Because we do course selection, they want more course offerings to give students a chance to explore interests of fields. Like if they say psychology, I don't know, maybe I want criminal justice. We encourage them, okay, maybe take criminal justice 100, right, to help you decide. And then move students through the decision-making process. So that again goes back to some of the foundational coach training we do, going back to the career development wheel and reinforcing, hey, this can be a helpful tool. As far as career opportunities and trends, well, we're going to be moving to that what we call meta majors / field of interest model, where we've clustered our advising staff around programs, degrees. And so this is going to allow our teams, that specific team, to have a deeper knowledge of the career pathway. So they're going to understand maybe more about I'm going to major in business and then I want to transfer to a local 4-year. We can do more in-depth research on that transfer planning, what they need to do to get into to successfully transfer into the courses and program at that 4-year. What are the career outcomes related to business and improving career acumen? What can I do with the business degree? And what kinds of jobs and employers are out there? So here are some success strategies that have worked for us that I'd like to pass along to you. In thinking about the buzzwords again, teaching and learning, and it was really fun to see that those words in Jeremy's presentation because it talks about and reinforces this symbiotic relationship, exploring and finding answers of new information together. And that's an interesting concept for academic advisors where we were very transactional and now we're moving them to be both transactional and developmental and recognizing those developmental opportunities. And most of the time that's where that career conversation happens. So normalizing for our advisors that stuckness, which I think is a real thing for academic advisors when a student says, so what do I do with a career in blah? And they're like, I don't know much about, like, IT can be one that's paralyzing for our advisors. Normalizing, okay, well, we're stuck together. This is a moment to help teaching and learning for both of us and teach the student. So the advisor serves as a role model of how to move that forward. The advising and career development involves teaching the student how to take ownership of the process while the advisor is guiding and supporting that exploration. So think about role playing, real scenarios to help build confidence around that. Make sure you're creating a clear referral system and understanding from a role clarity perspective when the career advising and support needs to probably end and to move the student forward into maybe more in-depth career counseling with either your career center or if you have those counseling services. Measure your impact through advisor feedback and student outcomes. How long do students stay undecided? How long maybe does it take for a student, or what does that process look like for the student to make that major decision? And then start small. So we were sort of forced out with Bonzi just because of size to make sure we're very niche in how we start. And then trainings can help lead to campus-wide transformation. So we're in a point where we're making a shift from taking our first semester advising, which our admissions was doing, and shifting it over to academic and career advising. And that means we're going to shift a little bit in the career knowledge area for those teams. So our admission staff are going to be doing more of that frontline career major exploration conversation. So we're thinking about what does that training look like for them? And then how do we support the more in-depth conversations with our advising team? So training insights, just to pass along, is really helping academic advisors on how to guide a conversation and helping a student link their major to a career industry specific type of job. continue to expand their knowledge about different career pathways in specific fields. And then think about how to help them have conversation starters for students who are either undecided or come with no options to explore. So, as the advising manager, all my staff have to record a session with a student and each year, and then I go in and observe. And so I'm looking at where was that career, if there was a career conversation happening, and most of the time it does. I'm looking to see how well and how comfortable the advisor is with that topic and where maybe they missed the opportunity to explore a little bit deeper or where they excelled in helping that student move forward. And that's a really good developmental opportunity for us. So is there a culture shift in advising happening? Absolutely. And it's definitely clear and it's a clear signal by NACADA and even the region conferences I go to. They're historically academic advising. We look at this and I would still say probably at some four-year universities and specific colleges, yeah, that team is probably doing a lot of more of that transactional where we're just doing course selection, we're going through a graduation checklist. What do you need to do to graduate on time? And it could be very reactive, right? Like we were in a reactive model. We sat and wait for the student to come to us. Well, now we're very much proactive and looking at each student and what do they need and where do they still, some of them can get up to 40 credits and still haven't declared a major, right? So we need to check in and say, hey, do we need to have that major conversation with you? We're shifting that from transactional to transformational. So let me just share it recently. It was in the week of October 21st that NACADA had their national conference. Um, there were 4 sessions about integrating academic and career advising. That conversation is happening on the other side. One of those was a scholarly paper. There were 5 sessions on career exploration and decision making. And there were 2 addressing the topic of undecided students and 3 on experiential learning and professional development. I know budgets are tight, but if you ever get a chance to just sign up virtually or go to a NACADA conference, I would encourage you. It's a great way to begin to build that relationship and understand what's the buzz going on and how can I meet people and bridge those relationships with academic advising. So, strong academic advising contributes and supports to every component of student success. I could easily say strong career services contributes and supports any component of student success. We are all working together for the same thing. So keep in mind, advising is teaching. Career integration enhances student success and retention. Every advising touch point is an opportunity to empower students in their career. And let's reimagine advising as a powerful lever for career readiness. I'm interested in knowing, and you can put this in the chat, and thank you, Tess, for the prompt. What ideas or efforts have you considered regarding the integration of career and academic advising at your institution? I'll also put in my email if you want to contact me in the chat. Any questions or takeaways? Again, thank you for joining. I really appreciate your patience as we work through some technical issues, but it was great to share our experiences some of our successes at Wabanzi with you. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Katie. Oh, so Brooke, I'm an academic advisor. What are some ideas I can do? Yeah, I would say just start to learn the career development fundamentals. Are you comfortable with talking to a student about their knowledge, their skills, their abilities that they bring? Um, I would say maybe go to the ONET and learn how to walk a student through the mini assessment they have and just talk with the student about what was the outcome of your assessment? What do you think? What is your knowledge of careers? Many of our students only come in with, my parents want me to be a doctor, because especially if we're dealing with some of our more low income students or students that are first gen, they have high aspirations. So we talk to them about, where are you getting your career ideas from, and where do you want to transfer to? What does that look like for you? What's your goal? When do you want to achieve this? So those are some of the ways that those conversations happen. Yeah, Brooke, the ONET, I'm trying to think of a book. I don't have a book off the top of my head. But if you want to reach out to me, I'm happy to have a conversation. Um, yeah, I think like the Strong's interest inventory, but you want to get certified in that. So I typically stick with the ONET. You might want to check with your career center where you work and collaborate with them. That's a good opportunity right there. Maybe somebody else has a book handy they can toss in for Brooke. I would even take, like, you can even go to, you can get certified through NACADA, the National Career Development Association, as a career facilitator. That's one way. It's a short um, learning module. I think they offer it online now. That's another way to kind of learn a little bit more about the career development fundamentals. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Anna. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. If we have no more questions, I think I'm going to end the meeting here. Enjoy the rest of the virtual conference and have a great Thursday. Thanks, everybody.